Hi, everybody. It's Linda G. I'm here with Sterling. Hi, Sterling.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Linda. And happy Memorial Day weekend, everybody, right?
Yeah,
Holiday
happy
weekend.
Memorial Day. I hope everybody's having a chillaxing time.
Exactly. Yeah.
And thank you for your questions. Thank you to Dan, our guy that types this up for me, and to Linda, your assistant, ACA wife.
I would never call her an assistant.
Well, she's definitely assisting you.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, she does wonderful things.
She does a good job of, getting details done, etc.
Exactly. Yep. Very helpful always. Yeah.
Yeah, she's a big part of who you are.
I would say I call her executive producer. All good.
There you go. That's more like it. You're we'll call her that from now on. Executive producer, Linda. Thank you. Plus, she has a high class name. Okay, so here's the question.
That's right. You can't go wrong with the word Linda.
Yeah. My son was looking up names, popular names yesterday, and Linda was like 854. But back in the days I was born, it was popular. Okay, Sterling, approximately 3 weeks ago on your show, you stated that there would be another school shooting, but could not see where it would occur. Unfortunately, you guys were correct. It was Texas. Sterling, do your guys see any more school shootings coming up?
Nothing that I would call significant. We're still going to have some shootings here and there. I think there was even one overnight. It may have been Atlanta, but I don't see significant.
Well, there was one
shootings
today in Tennessee.
Okay, I remember there's something in the news, a news flash. I saw something, but this particular event that my Guides Angels forecast on the May 1st show, that was about this school mass shooting coming up. This is really a tipping point in the universe and the world, and this is really this is an angelic event. A lot of these children were very old souls that came down to help the world. So I don't see any other major significant mass shooting events. But looks like we've reached a tipping point, and that's all part of the universal plan. Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like that feeling is that when this happened, I thought, oh, this is really going to make America say enough. There's nothing wrong with background checks. Why are they so dead set against background checks?
Yeah, well, I think it's gonna create a number of new systems that they'll be put in place. Extended background checks, let's say 28-day minimum, background check. I think that's going to lead to a ban on military style weapons and high magazine loads. It's going to lead to just a number of things that are going to start moving the needle, just the way they put seatbelts in cars years ago, right? Doesn't mean you can't drive, but you put a seatbelt on, it just increases safety.
Did people fight against that too? Did the car industry fight against that or something?
Oh, sure. Oh, sure. It started off with lap belts, and then they went to shoulder belts, and they're like, no, we're not doing the shoulder belt. And, and then when airbags finally got around to it, people, bit the bullet and said, okay, airbag.
Okay. Airbag, safety. But, there was a Marine on Twitter that talked about, he's a teacher, a gun teacher. He said, a Marine is required to take classes to show that they know how to deal with their weapon all the time. They have to be updated. Like a nurse has to take CEUs, and doctors, anybody that's dealing with life and death has to take it. And so maybe they should do more of that with the DMV. But he's saying, and this thing with the militia, who has done these killings that belongs to a militia per the Constitution? Hello.
Right. Yeah. And by the way, we're going to see many changes across our society going forward here the next number of years, and even faster regarding gun safety. So we did reach a tipping point, and it's going to be good. So
that's great. That's great. There seems to be questions and concerns about the timeline of the Texas school shooting. Police not going into the school, but rather arguing with parents instead. Will there be an outside federal investigation of the local police concerning this issue?
Yes, and it's already started. The FBI is already engaged. There will be, but what my guys have told me is that unfortunately, the team that was on the ground, the police team or the border patrol, whatever was there, they felt they were outgunned, and so that was a problem with why they hesitated. Even though I think there were 19 policemen in the hallway, but they felt they were outgunned.
Well,
And
they
so whether
also
that
were
was,
instructed not to go in.
well, right. So it's a matter of whoever made the call said that we can't go up against this gunman with AR-15s or whatnot. So, doesn't have the body armor or whatever it was. So it was a bad decision, but it's definitely going to go under federal investigation, and it's all going to help move the needle towards more safety and rescuing people faster. Yeah.
Has this hurt Governor Abbott?
Mm-hmm.
It has, okay, because he's acting like they lied to me, the police lied to me. I'll tell you something right now, his no worry, carry a gun, don't need any kind of paperwork. Most of the police departments don't like that.
Correct. And I don't know if you saw the news conference that he did earlier in the week, right? The press conference. But, one of the interesting thing was he was drawing parallels to the fact that 18-year-olds could buy shotguns for 100 years or 200 years, whatever it was, and never had a problem. Yeah, but that was for hunting wildlife, not military style weapons in schools. They look, they're all funded, unfortunately, for entertainment purposes only. They're all being funded by the NRA, a lot of the campaigns. And that money's coming from offshore sources with a company that begins with R. So that's how that money's being funneled in. So,
well, let me tell you something. The highest paid person on the books in United States Senate is Mitt Romney. If you can believe it. He gets the most money. Susan Collins got like $11,000, and Mitt Romney got like $11 million.
Well, that's all going to change over the next number of months to year here, because we talked about this months ago, is that the flow, I'm going to call it the cash flow, of how the money's coming in offshore through various groups like the NRA and who's taking it. That's all going to come about. Yeah. So
wonderful news. Thank you. What effect will young new voters have on gun control? They have to endure shootings and drills at school. My grandson is 8 years old, and I'm going to tell you, he's in a very nice school, because my daughter's out in a city that her father has a house worth a lot of money. But anyway, but I often wonder, it makes you scared. It makes you scared to even send your kid to school.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
So will the new young voters have any effect?
Sure. No, absolutely. This incident, along with many other things, even what's going on with Roe v. Wade, they're all going to bring out a lot of very young voters, and a lot of areas of the population hadn't voted before. So we're at a time of change. Many changes going on the planet. This is one of the major changes. Yeah. The young people coming out to vote. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Well, Representative Barry Laudermilk from Georgia has denied leading tours through the Capitol the day before the riot. However, the panel has evidence that suggests otherwise and wants him to testify. Did he leave a reconnaissance tour through Capitol?
I mean, for entertainment purposes only, yes.
Absolutely.
It looks to me like
they have film.
I'm being told there are actually several, including like the day before, like January 5th.
Right.
So this is not like a fluke occurrence. Yeah.
Well, at first he said no, and then I guess they have film. Then he's acting like, well, he brought some nieces and nephews. It's a bunch of malarkey. Okay, will Stacey Abrams become governor of Georgia?
I do see it. I do see it.
I've been seeing it for a while. Thank you.
And now what's interesting, though, is it's going to be another like barn burner. And what I mean by that is it's going to go right down to the wire. There's going to be a recount. Everybody's going to be slinging mud back and forth. And it could be another week or 2 weeks after the election before they finally say, okay, she won.
Okay, thank you.
It looks like it's going to be very close, but it looks like at the end, I see her cheering and celebrating. So she makes it. Yeah.
Okay. And, and things will change. There was a gal out there in Georgia that lost like so bad. It wasn't even funny. I think she got 20%. She didn't get enough votes. Okay. And she claims it was rigged and starting a big kerfuffle. Even though she lost by a landslide, I'm sure they'll say, yeah, you want to recount, you pay for it.
Yeah,
So,
well, in a funny way, yeah. I obviously it wasn't rigged, so yeah,
right,
it's a lot of smokescreen. Yeah,
yeah. So is Beto O'Rourke gonna win in Texas?
it's a very interesting one. First off, let me say I sure hope he wins. I sure hope. Uh, I'm highly concerned about the level of cheating that's going to go on in that state, and I hope I'm wrong, but it looks like the cheating is going to outwin him, and I don't think he's going to make it in to the governor's seat. Yeah.
Okay, I see him going in.
I know, I know.
That's okay. Wait,
No, it's very true. And I've looked at this several times. I think that this is an interesting part of the way the universe works. If you look at, like, does he win by vote count? Yes. Does he end up in the seat or the governor's seat? I get no. And that's because something goes on behind the scenes where they magically, come up with an extra 300,000 votes or something for the GOP. So there's some stuff that goes on behind the scenes. And I've seen this before where my guys will say, oh yeah, that person won, but then they don't end up in the position.
well,
Oh,
the first time I predicted he would win as senator, and my guides, while I was reading, said, Linda, he's not going to win.
Yeah.
I said, doggone it. But one of the reasons my guide said he will win is because people are done with Abbott. They're done with him. He didn't help them when they were freezing, when all this stuff. So people are done. There's nothing that Abbott is presenting that helps Georgians.
No, I mean, I agree. And my hope is that he does win. It's just, for me, it looks very dicey with the cheating that I see going on. So, I guess if they can uncover the cheating and reverse it, say, well, 300,000 mail-in votes didn't get counted. We just found them in a school back room, then it can reverse it. If it doesn't get reversed in time, then that's where I'm concerned. So,
okay. Sounds good. So we'll see. Has the NRA been funneling Russian money into Republicans? Oh my God. Hello, Sky Blue, Grass.
Yeah.
Into Republican campaigns. Will this be made public?
Was that a two-part question there? I must have missed.
I didn't realize I have to turn the page. It's one sentence, but it was two parts here. Has the NRA been funneling Russian money into Republican campaigns? Will this be made public? Well, I just saw the list of everybody who gets what.
Yeah, no, 100%. And that, by the way, this is important because this is why so many GOP are standing down about gun control and gun safety, because the money coming through the NRA, that's exactly what's happening. And the money's coming from offshore. It's coming from Russia. So, really, this is what you call a sellout. A lot of the GOP, it's a sellout. So they're not doing what's right for humankind and people in the nation. They're doing what's right to get themselves reelected, which is crazy. So,
yeah. If the Earth is ascending to 5D, when did it start and when will it finish? And when will it be obvious to those that have already ascended?
Yeah, so this refers to fifth density. So we're in like third density right now, going to fourth density. This really speaks to spiritual evolution, and more people, for example, being able to communicate with the other side, the veil to the other side getting very thin. My team has always said we're in a 3-decade reset going on right now, 2020 to 2050. So this is going to take the better part of 3 decades for a complete reset for a lot of people to reach fifth density. Not to be confused with fourth dimension or fifth dimension. Those are different concepts. So a lot of people interchange that, right? So fifth density, the majority of the population will be highly evolved, spiritually attuned, talking directly with the other side. Heaven, the veil to the other side will be very thin, but it's about 3-decade period.
Okay. Okay. Oh, this is interesting. And by the way, they're asking about Trevor Reid, the Marine that was released from Russia. Mm-hmm. They're wanting to know what is the future for Trevor Reid. By the way, Trevor Reid really talks smack about Ted Cruz and everybody in Texas because none of those people helped him.
Right.
His parents going to Washington and Biden helped them.
Yeah. No, I see him moving forward as initially a strong advocate for POWs and people having trouble from the war. And then I see him moving forward with helping, almost like an advisor, having some sort of a formal position within government, whether it's, it's an ancillary White House position, but helping with a lot of like military programs, not just POWs, but POWs with PTSD and how to free prisoners. He almost, what they're showing me, almost becomes like the czar of
Wow, that's wonderful.
political POW. That's a few years here, but
Okay.
I'm going to tell you that I just got a cold chill. It feels like he becomes the czar, and we could use a czar in that area. I
You
think
sure can.
I think I read this week that something like there's still 55 Americans being held worldwide by various governments. So there's still 55 that are, still need help.
Right. Will there ever be a way to prevent periodontal disease?
Oh, yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, I see over the next few years here, there's going to be more additives coming to food. So there's some sort of additives. Some of them are natural, some of them are man-made, but coming into the food supply that helps with that. And then if we go another 8 to 10 years down the road, by virtue of CRISPR technology, to be able to grow teeth. So if you lose teeth due to the
You'll be able,
periodontal disease,
instead of, yeah,
you'll be able to regrow teeth.
even with the
Now,
root and everything?
They will. Yeah. Right now they have some early stages of that going on right now, being able to grow teeth like in the laboratory,
Right.
but it's not widespread enough where it's cost effective. But within 8 to 10 years here, that's going to happen. Yeah.
That's great. My question is, I know that there are soul packs that are made prior to coming here. I've heard like plane crashes, train crashes, anything that takes a group of people out at one time. My question is, are these mass shooting soul packs? You kind of just talked about that.
We did. Yeah. And there's many types of massive soul packs that go on, even people that were in the Holocaust, people in 9/11, these mass shootings. Many times, I'll tell you the one thing that I've seen many times talking with my team is that they're usually composed of old souls. So only old souls ask for very difficult life paths in order to kind of help the earth and help the universe. So a lot of these are old souls, and they do it as a combined effort to help move the universe and the world forward. But in addition, they do it in a way that is very impactful on families and people around them.
Right.
And many times they also reincarnate very quickly. So like in general, many people don't reincarnate faster than say 80 to 100 years.
Yeah.
But I
I've
see
heard that.
people that go through these kind of mass shootings and destruction in 9/11, they come back much faster.
Okay.
So yeah, that's all true. Yeah.
Wow, that's great. I am in Canada and would like to know if the Conservative Party is going after our abortion rights.
Well, I'm being told I feel they will. However, they won't be successful. So it's a matter of kind of, them trying to create some problems. But right now, Canada. So here's the thing. I think Canada allows abortion at almost every stage of pregnancy. And I think that is still going to be maintained in the long run. But it looks like the Conservatives in Canada are going to try to dismantle that, but it won't be successful.
Yeah. Who looks after our pet when they pass to the other side?
Well, it's easy. Actually, they join with the angelic realm very quickly, but then they also move back and spend time with our immediate families. And I saw that even with our St. Bernard Einstein that passed away very soon thereafter. He passed away. He was with my mother and Linda's mother. So
Wow.
they go to the angelic realm, and then I saw my mother and her mother greeting him. So yeah.
So he's comfy.
Yeah.
Will Kellyanne Conway's book sell?
Well, to a lot of conservatives, it will. I mean, to a lot of conservatives, but it's interesting. There's a bit of I'm going to call it a food fight going on here, because I don't know anything about the book, but it looks like some people in the White House weren't kind to Kellyanne Conway, whether this was Jared or Mark Meadows, so it looks like a bit of a food fight among the GOP, including 45 moving away from it, like not distancing himself from the book here, because it just looks like I haven't read the book, but it feels like there was like a food fight, and she did.
Yeah, she talked about Jared trying to cut her off at every way. She was trying to help the president. And then she also talked about Trump trying to get her under the sheets. which is that's the status quo for him. Okay, will Mark Kelly win his Senate seat again in Arizona?
100%.
Yay, thank you.
Yeah, and he got in, I think, during that special election from McCain, but looks like he'll definitely get in now in kind of in a more conventional way. But yeah, he's going to win.
Great. Is Trump going to exit stage left at the same time as Putin?
100%.
Yeah.
And we've been talking about this for months, right? Even a year ago, I talked about this, but I always saw Putin and 45 on the same kind of track of diminishing returns as they kind of exit.
And
so
astrologically, it shows in their charts too.
Yeah, it just looks like both of them were tied together, from an energetic way within the universe in terms of the things were doing, and they're both going to exit in the same kind of a timeline. Yeah.
Okay, good. Does our government know about every U.S. secret that has been sold to other nations?
Well, told is, let's put it this way, they don't know about every secret, but what they do know are what the communication channels are. So they've actually identified all the primary communication channels, the people, the connections. They don't know about all the information that flowed over those channels, but now they can actually they've got enough information to figure out what information flowed through those channels. Yeah.
Okay. So Dr. Oz won the Pennsylvania Republican primary. He beat out that guy.
You're asking,
it was too close to call.
Well, you're right. If you're asking, did he win? The recount is on right now because it was less than 0.5%. The recount's going on for Dr. Oz right now. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because they're saying, did Dr. Oz win the Pennsylvania Republican primary legitimately?
Well, he hasn't won yet.
Okay.
I think there's some behind the scenes magic that's going on there that's not right, but yeah, I think the recount's going on right now.
And the other thing is he refuses to give up his Turkish citizenship, and he never really lived in Pennsylvania. It's amazing how they can do this. But do you see Fetterman winning?
Yes.
Good, thanks.
Yes.
Will Michigan retain our Democratic governor, and will the Democrats take over our Republican-controlled houses?
I see the governor maintaining, so that's like the Democratic governor, but unfortunately, it looks like the two houses, or the House and the Senate in Michigan, looks like they're still going to stay with the GOP for me.
Okay.
Still going to be Republican, yeah. So hard-fought battle, but it looks like for some reason the GOP still has a leg up somehow.
Okay. Beto confronted Abbott with facts that was called a sorry SOB over shouts from the attendees. Will Beto rally any Republicans to his cause after this horrific murder of children?
Well, what I'm being told is, let's say it's not so much the Beto effect, but it's the Uvalde shooting effect, Uvalde, Texas. So not so much directly. That question was, I think, phrased, did Beto swing them over? There will be some GOP swinging over, but it's because of the mass shooting itself. Yeah.
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 Will Biden do an executive order on gun control?
Well, I'm being told too, but I think the first one may already be in process. That was the ghost gun one that he was getting involved in a couple of weeks ago. But I do see another one he's going to try to make happen, but it has to do with extended background check. So trying to get to like 28-day or 30-day back. I'm going to say 28-day minimum background checks, like not just 1 day and there you go.
Right.
So I do see that. And then I see him helping to move Congress forward around getting rid of military style weapons, high magazine, and also there's some sort of a mental health program that's going to go on here too. Oh, they're just reminding me there's a new technology program that's going to come up here that's going to harness artificial intelligence and supercomputers to mine social media data, billions and billions of pieces of social media data, then using artificial intelligence to identify high-risk offenders.
Wow.
So it'll be able to mine billions of amounts of data. So that's coming up here too. It looks like Biden is going to somehow get involved in that too, helping to push that forward.
That's great. Will Raphael Warnock keep his Senate seat?
Yes, and I think Herschel Walker, is that Herschel Walker running against him?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, no, well, it looks like Herschel's going to lose, and so, yep, we'll win. Yeah.
Who is getting the 18-year-olds and other weak-minded individuals to self-radicalize?
And that question was who, right? Who, like
Yeah,
a
who is
singular
getting
person?
the 18-year-olds and other
Yeah,
weak-minded?
so that's a huge conglomeration of many factors, you're being told. So it's look, it's the pandemic, it's job loss, it's rapid access to social media that helps people share, radical thinking.
Yeah,
It's a lot of my guy just saying it's a conglomeration of many factors, and not just a who. It's a collection of many factors here, and it's has a lot to do with our current economy and the current state of the world, and the fact social media is so accessible even to toddlers, on
right,
tablets. So it's
right.
crazy. Yeah.
Is there a secret plan to get Mariupol back from the Russians?
I'm being told there's like two different plans being looked at here. One is like Zelensky or Ukraine-based plan, and one is like a NATO/world plan. So I feel like there's some sort of there's an analysis going on here. What's the best way to take it back? Okay. And it looks like a lot of will have to do with aerial assault.
Okay.
So smart drones and things of that nature. Yeah.
What do you see? Do you see anything coming up this next week?
Well, yeah, a number of things. Let me start off with, we were talking about gun control, but I do see some sort of a bipartisan effort cracking the door open here this week of trying to come together, the GOP and Democrats, to try to figure out, do some blocking and tackling on gun control, gun safety. I do see that. It's not going to be agreed on this week, but I do see them opening the door. I do. Okay. Massive shipments of baby formula starting up now. I do see that internationally. I do see progress coming up here on monkeypox vaccine. That's going to be helpful, coming from a smallpox vaccine. They're also talking about some sort of a development here on vaccine technology we're going to hear about, but it's going to be more of a vaccine that's going to help us with the new strains coming up. Not just this year, but like the very tail end of the year. I see that. Yeah. Well, it looks like, good progress all the way around. So gun control and vaccine and baby formula and more, they're saying more behind the scenes or closed door testimony coming up for the January 6th commission that we're going to hear about. So you're going to hear, you may not hear about this week, but it looks like it'll take place this week. And then like next week, you're going to go, oh, these three individuals had closed door testimony. So it looks like you may hear about it, not this next week, but the following week, but the testimony will be this week.
Okay, cool. And is there anything your guides want to share?
They do. And especially this week, understand that everything that occurs in the world and the universe is part of a master plan. So there's no accidents. So even all of our involvement and all of our interaction, what happens in the world is part of a larger master plan, and that you are part of that master plan. And so it's important to kind of be in sync with the world and help keeping everything moving forward. So it also relates to, the mass shooting we saw, is that, these happen for a reason. It's moving the universe forward. We're all here for a reason, and we all asked to be here at this time. So kind of a collective message about why we're all here, and it's part of a universal plan, even though it's hard to understand sometimes.
Right, right. And so that's very good. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, always.
So are you feeling any rumblings coming up? I'm not feeling any drama. I'm not feeling everything shuts down and the news is 24 hours like they did with the shooting with the kids. I see a little bit of a break.
I'm not sure what you're referring to. You're referring to reporting on the shooting you're talking about? Or what
no, from the guides. I know, like sometimes I'll mind my own business, and that's when they said, out of the blue, Russia's going to hit the Ukraine. It's going to be terrible. Blood will be shed. Well, that's when I went out in my backyard. Or I'll get a hit on something that's pretty, it's like we pick up the little effects that you're not feeling anything like that, right?
No, I mean, if I look
So
short
at least for
term,
now, for the next couple of weeks.
yeah, if I look short term, they're not telling me anything major is going to go on, and major includes things like earthquakes, that kind of
Yeah,
thing.
that I don't get any feeling.
No, I mean, it's not right around the corner. We have one coming in California, as you know, but things like that. It looks like more strategic planning. I do see, by the way, they're reminding me more significant movement with NATO for Finland and Sweden getting into NATO. So I see, like, I'm going to say that there's things that are positive changes moving around us right now over the next number of weeks, as opposed to catastrophe. So
good. So there was one other question I wanted to ask you. Doggone it. Okay, so we were talking about anything big. Oh, will the January 6th, because it's coming up, right? Next couple of weeks, we're going to start primetime TV event. Will that actually push people? Or is it just business as usual and the Trumpsters say, I'm not going to watch that, they're lying?
Well, yeah, here's what's interesting when I get on that is that people that say are hard right or GOP, they're going to say it's all a circus. But what's going to happen with that information is actually going to tie up some of the GOP into legal problems. So it's the legal problems that they're going to have that are going to be a hindrance to their campaigns. So if that makes sense, it's not directly the voting GOP. It's the fact that the DOJ and other legal organizations are going to get involved. So it's going to have an effect. Yeah, awesome. Absolutely. Yeah.
So listen, I read somewhere, I don't know if this is fake news, but that a judge has decided if you're an insurrectionist, you can't run for office.
Yeah, and I think that's come up a couple of times in different courts.
They were talking about Madison, but he lost. He can't run again anyway. But.
Right. I do think that that's going to end up getting some teeth, so to speak, in the law. It's going to get some teeth. Right now, for some reason, whenever that comes up, it looks like they try to attach it to something in the Constitution that's not directly related. So they're trying to connect the dots there as to how you would articulate that based on the Constitution. Yeah. So. All good.
And now just one last question, because I just so excited to have you here. Jenny Thomas, anything coming up with her or Justice Thomas, anything?
Well, for entertainment purposes only.
Entertainment purposes only.
You and I talked about this before, and my team told me that there's some direct involvement with the Roe v. Wade leakage, right? So
you had mentioned that, yeah.
Yeah, and I, look, for entertainment purposes only, I think everybody is very smart in your audience. They can figure out, the rest.
Okay.
But yeah.
But will there be any repercussions?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's within about 90 days here. Could be a little faster because there's going to be a rollout of all the information in terms of the insurrection and then other people involved and then what ancillary things went on, who's doing what. So that Roe v. Wade leakage is going to come out as well.
Okay, because I do see a little clip in the January 6th talking about Jenny Thomas.
Yeah, well, that's a different topic, right? Related to the buses, right?
Right.
So I'm referring to now the leak. Okay. That's a different topic, but they both roll back to the same person.
Okay.
So yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And whoever released it thought, oh yeah, this makes sense, and it didn't make sense. That guy that wrote it was talking about some guy that burned women at the stake in the 1600s. Absolutely crazy stuff.
Yeah, well, when I get on that, it was that was an ill attempt that backfired. So that was somebody trying to get the information out there, saying, in advance of elections, look, we've got your back. We're doing everything we ever promised. But it woke up a sleeping giant in the population. And a lot of people woke up out of a slumber and said, wait a minute, how could this ever happen? And so they helped us. That was a golden gift.
That's another reason to go to the voting booth and vote out.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
But do you see the Supreme Court actually coming back and outlawing, I always felt somebody like Kavanaugh would change his mind because he'll tell them, let's wait and see if Biden wins again or whatever. But I almost feel like one of the justices will go against this. That initially said he would vote for this.
Yeah, I mean, it looks to me like, again, unfortunately, it's going to get overturned, but it'll be short term.
Okay,
So
thank you.
as two new Supreme Court justices get added, I've seen this now, we got months out here, but eventually Biden is going to add two more, and these will be additional Supreme Court justices. But then we'll get to a point where then it gets reversed back.
That makes sense too, because you did say that, and I think he wasn't pushing for it. That makes sense, because if it actually goes through to cancel out Roe versus Wade, it'll cause such a commotion that Biden has no choice but to put on two more. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, and it's going to go out to the states then, so it's not a fait accompli when it gets overturned. Then it goes out to the states, and
right. And our governor is like, don't even worry. You know.
Yeah, so it's
but they want to arrest any woman that goes to a different state to have an abortion.
It's all crazy. It's all crazy.
It's cray.
Absolutely.
Well, my friend, it was wonderful.
One quick footnote, because I always get asked all the time, just if anybody needs to reach me, they can go to sterlingpsychicmedium.com, look for the book a session tab.
Awesome.
We always get asked about that, so it's all good. Yeah.
And everybody, as you know, I'm no longer doing paid readings. I end in December. I'm already booked through then. So I highly recommend Sterling, definitely, for readings. I get so many people writing me, oh my God, Sterling told me everything you told me.
And I hear that a lot. I'll read people and say, a year ago, I had a reading with Linda G, and she told me the exact same thing.
That's how you know you got good psychics.
Yeah, well, so I always say that my team and your team, they agree. So that's good.
Right, but I'm getting old and I gotta calm down. So, all right, my friend.
All righty, all the best. And
big love to you and yours.
Big love to you, and have a great holiday weekend, and we'll catch up.
Okay, you guys, bye everybody. Thank you so much.
Take care. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.